It's Camp Stage Live with your host, Tracy Evans. Co-host, Dot Theodore. Tonight, we celebrate ALC participants and why you ride.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Camp Stage Day 2. I'm so glad to see all of your smiling faces and ecstatic to have you here joining us. Today has been all about safety. Be safe where you are, be safe at home, be safe out in the world, and being safe with your health. Let's take a look at how we brought that to life today. Welcome to day 2 of AIDS LifeCycle at Home. Wow, did you join Mario for our first indoor cycling at home workout earlier?
We're just gonna have a good time, all right? Hey! I want everything you got. That's it.
Welcome to your yoga class. Forearms going up, 5. Or you're grabbing your knee.
Our new mission calls our work to address all sexual health and substance use disparities.
And welcome a very special co-host.
I wanted to talk about some safety before we start AIDS LifeCycle at Home.
Down and back, sending weight into your heels when you come up.
And a special thank you to everyone who's continued to fundraise.
Hey, Coney, what are you doing? So, are you ready for tonight? We have one of the founders of San Francisco AIDS Foundation, Cleve Jones. If you don't know Cleve, he is a longtime HIV activist and creator of the AIDS Memorial Quilt. Tonight you will hear his perspective on the similarities of the early days of the AIDS crisis and the moment we find ourselves in with COVID-19. We'll also have visits and drop-ins from agency frontline workers, and of course we'll check in on our daily at-home challenge. But let's start at the very beginning. How did Orange Safety Day become a thing? Here's longtime veteran roadie captain Mike Kuttner with more.
Hi, my name is Mike Kuttner, and I've been with the ride for 20 years as a roadie, and 16 of those years I've been captain or co-captain of the lunch roadie team. I joined AIDS LifeCycle because my sister was riding. She asked me to ride with her, and I said, no way. But she said, that's okay, you can be a roadie. And so I did, and it was an amazing experience, and I've kept on coming back. Safety Orange Day started on the AIDS LifeCycle 2015 as part of a broader emphasis on safety on the event. Safety Orange Day was a simple way to remind all participants about safety. Safety Orange Day is important because it's a clear declaration of the importance of safety. It's a reminder to every roadie and cyclist on what can be a long and tough day that we take safety seriously. The lunch team prioritizes safety for roadies, cyclists, and the public in everything we do. In addition to encouraging safe riding, we also prioritize safety for sun exposure and hydration, sanitation and food handling, lifting and carrying, driving in vehicles, and the flow of cyclists through the lunch site. We emphasize safety for everything. Safety on the ride is important because we want everyone to have a great experience as we go from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And we know that a serious injury could jeopardize the future of the ride. So safety is our highest priority. From the roadie team, I want to say thank you all for doing your part in keeping us all safe.
Thank you, Mike, for taking us on that magical orange-themed carpet ride through time. Now, I'm excited to welcome tonight's co-host to the show, Dot Theodore. Dot is a third-year rider, training ride leader, and co-captain of Team Eden Bicycles. She lives in Castro Valley, California with her husband and 2 high schoolers. Dot is a shero in the fight against HIV and AIDS. She's a program specialist at the Alameda County Public Health Department in the Office of HIV Care. Welcome to the show, Dot.
Thank you.
Now, Dot, you're a third-year rider. How'd you get involved in the ride?
Oh, well, I was recovering from a broken foot. I had tripped and broke my foot and basically sat on my butt for a few weeks and decided I needed to do something big to come back from that injury. So I signed up for the AIDS LifeCycle and haven't regretted it.
Oh, amazing. Now, to take a little bit of a shift, this has been a heck of a week. In fact, I would say it's been a hell of a week for everyone. What have you been doing this week in dealing with just the craziness of the time we're in?
Yeah, it has been heavy. It's been hard to, check Facebook and see the posts and listen to the news and read the news about all of the unrest that's happening. And I just decided I couldn't sit and not do something anymore. So Saturday, I joined a peaceful protest outside of the Alameda County Sheriff's substation, and it was a great experience. It was loud, but it was peaceful.
Oh, I'm glad it was peaceful. I know so many of our folks all over the place have been out at protests and some not quite so peaceful. So I just hope that everybody is safe and continues to be able to stand up for all the things that are right in the world. And with that, what do you say we look at some of the work of the foundation and the center?
I'm into it. It's so important that we not forget that this journey starts with you, our awesome community. Your courage and dedication to make a change in the world and to continue fighting is important to keep the work going. Here's Jen Hecht, Senior Director of Program Strategy and Evaluation at San Francisco AIDS Foundation, and Linda Santamon, Manager of Integrated Care at the Los Angeles LGBT Center, to talk about their work and how what you're doing provides incredible support.
Hi, this is Jen Hecht. I'm the Senior Director of Program Strategy and Evaluation at San Francisco AIDS Foundation, and I also direct Building Healthy Online Communities, which is based at SFAF. BHOC is a consortium of public health organizations partnering with dating apps used by the queer community. Our goal is to make sure that people who use dating apps have access to sexual health information and sexual health services. We've worked with Grindr, Adam for Adam, and other apps to add profile options that let users indicate that they're on PrEP or that they're undetectable. Of course, these fields are always optional, so users can decide what they want to share. But we know that conversations about status and prevention can be hard, and we hope that making this information easier to share can make those important conversations easier. Last year, we launched tellyourpartner.org, so people who have an STI can anonymously let a partner know that they may have been exposed and they should get a test. Since our launch, over 20,000 people have sent a message through the site. We're also running a campaign called Nice AF. Sometimes there are too many dicks online, and this is a chance to remind people to reject rudeness. You can check out the videos, and you can vote for the best message on niceaf.org. BHOC has been able to leverage our partnerships with the apps during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've worked closely with the apps on their messaging about how users should navigate difficult conversations about sex during the pandemic. We also created a new website, modeled off of tellyourpartner.org, called tellyourcontacts.org, that enables people who've received a positive COVID-19 diagnosis to let their contacts know, so they can home isolate and get a test. And during shelter in place, we were able to roll out a program we've been working on for the past year, called Take Me Home. This program allows app users in participating locations to order an HIV test to be mailed to their home. And since we launched in late March, we've sent out over 600 orders. Our goal is to reach people who haven't been able to access testing. For many, this is their first time taking a test. And don't worry, we offer plenty of support for them throughout the process. Here's what we heard back from one of our participants. I've never been tested. Being sexually active and with the current pandemic, this means a lot to me. Thank you. San Francisco is participating in the Take Me Home project, and LA and several counties in California are signing up now. And we're very excited to be able to add on STI testing soon too.
Hello, my name is Linda Santamon, and I am the Manager of Integrated Care at the Los Angeles LGBT Center. I manage a program that's called the Integrated Clinic Program, and we come together in a multidisciplinary way. So the medical, mental health, psychosocial, case management come together to help some of our most vulnerable clients address their medical, mental, and psychosocial needs. COVID-19 affected these populations that we have the hardest. These are some who may have had gig jobs and they lost their jobs. Maybe they've had to work under the table and they've lost that cash flow. If they were having trouble with anxiety and depression, it may have hit them even harder than before. And if they were already financially unstable or housing instability, all of this has been exaggerated. And so now most of the work is done remotely so that we could help people while also protecting ourselves. And through this, we've been able to do things like help someone who is on the streets be able to find housing. We have helped with people who are at risk of being evicted get some financial assistance for their rent. We have helped someone get a hearing aid who needed a hearing aid during this time. We've also been able to have remote mental health sessions so people can really get that support when it comes to all of these crises that are coming up during this time and getting that support.
AIDS LifeCycle riders and roadies, it starts with you and the dollars and cents that you raised and continue to raise to support our agencies. We couldn't have made this work possible without you. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone at San Francisco AIDS Foundation.
AIDS LifeCycle riders and roadies, it starts with you. And the dollars and cents that you have raised continue to support our agencies. We couldn't make this work possible without you. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for all that you do to help us here at the LGBT Center.
Hi, my name is Fio, and I did my first AIDS LifeCycle ride last year.
My name is Lily, and I am the co-captain of Team Rider Dykes.
I am Gled Morrow from Austin, Texas.
My name is Edwin Ballencap, and I'm a team member of the Psychopath.
Melanie, I live in Denver, Colorado.
My name is Vic, and I'm an ALC-aholic, and I'm going to tell you about why I ride.
Why do I ride?
Why do I ride?
And the reason is pretty clear. Over 30 years ago, I was diagnosed HIV positive. That free test and free counseling was offered at an organization similar to those that AIDS LifeCycle supports. I believe that's why I'm alive today.
I ride to break down the stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS.
I ride to honor my friend that has passed.
I was born and raised in Panama, a pretty conservative country, where unfortunately developed a lot of self-hate towards my queer identity. And I feel like it wasn't really until I did AIDS LifeCycle that I fully embraced every inch of my queerness.
And I actually got my mom to do it last year. She loved it, which was so special to me because, you know, she wasn't excited when I came out of the closet. So for her to be with thousands of queer people was really awesome.
Being part of the community and supporting everyone I've met on training rides who have been affected by HIV and AIDS.
The ride is important to me because I want people to remember. I want people to remember what this is all about.
Back in the 80s, my little brother was singing for the New York City Gay Men's Chorus, and I was a medical student in Washington, D.C. He watched his friends die. I watched my patients die. It was terrifying.
I lost my first partner to AIDS in 2002. And my current partner lost his partner in 1994.
My dad was 40 when he died. I'm riding in his honor and the honor for so many who have lost their lives prematurely to AIDS.
I ride because so many that I know could not be on the ride with me. And every single mile of the 545 miles that I cycled, I remember those people.
I want to bring awareness to what AIDS LifeCycle offers. I want people to realize that if they do not see a future for themselves, that there may still be one there waiting.
I'll do it again and again and again until AIDS is a thing of the past and we don't have to do this anymore.
I ride because I can, and I ride so that someday, and someday soon, I don't have to.
And I challenge you to sign up just once, and something tells me that like any ALC-aholic, you'll keep coming back.
Thank you, everyone who continues to support this work.
You know, Dot, your work, I know a little bit about your background. Your work and your riding, I think, are tied hand in hand, but could you tell us a little bit about why you ride and how it connects to your work?
Yeah, our work at the Public Health Department in Alameda, and especially in the Office of HIV Care is all done with a social justice lens. We do all of our planning and implementation really focusing on how to remove barriers to high quality HIV services. And so that is perfectly in line with the mission of AIDS LifeCycle, and that is to bring health care and social justice for all.
Well, as a resident of Alameda County, thank you. As a person who really cares about this work, thank you. And I really appreciate what you do, Dot.
You're welcome. Well, with that said, I'm really looking forward to the next segment.
I'd like to welcome Alan Acosta, Director of Strategic Initiatives at the Los Angeles LGBT Center, to the show. Alan, I know you've had a chance to sit down with Cleve Jones and have a conversation about his experience as an integral voice in the HIV/AIDS epidemic. What was that like for you, and what's resounding most for you in this moment as we get ready to listen in on that conversation?
Cleve is a bit of a living legend, so it was very exciting to be able to bring him to life for all the writers. I think what was interesting for me is that we're contemporaries. We were born at about the same time, and we lived through much of the LGBT history that we then talked about, and to frame that in the moment that is now, which is COVID-19 and a new pandemic, and to talk about that with in comparison to the pandemic that we lived through as young gay men.
Wow. Well, I'm excited to listen in on the conversation. So what do you say? Let's cut over to that conversation.
Sounds good. Hello and welcome to Camp Stage. I'm Alan Acosta, Director of Strategic Initiatives at the Los Angeles LGBT Center. Tonight, it's my pleasure and honor to be moderating a conversation with Cleve Jones. And he doesn't really need an introduction. I think many of you know him and you certainly know of him, but I'm going to give him a proper introduction anyway. Cleve, you deserve one, so I'm going to give it to you. So, Cleve is an author and a human rights activist. He's one of the pioneers of the movement for LGBTQ equality. And in 1983, which was fairly early in the AIDS pandemic, he was one of the co-founders of the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. So welcome, Cleve.
Thank you.
I want to start in a very general way. You and I are of a certain age, I guess you'd say. We're contemporaries. I'm actually a little bit older than you, but we're baby boomers. And all of a sudden in our 20s, we faced a challenge I think that we never thought we would have to. I look at this pandemic now as having some of the same impact, although as not in not such a targeted way. And I thought maybe if you could just talk a little bit about that. I would just like to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, thank you. And I think it's important that we talk about the parallels between the two pandemics, not so much as an exercise in nostalgia, but there were lessons learned that, or should have been learned, that are relevant. And also another part of it is that we see that many organizations, such as the Los Angeles LGBT Center, who have been on the forefront of providing HIV/AIDS services and education, are now being required to pivot and address the challenges of COVID-19. And I see this from your colleagues all around the country who, because the people, the communities that you provide your services to, the same folks who were most impacted by HIV/AIDS are now on the front lines of this new pandemic. So this is an extremely relevant discussion, I think.
I heard an interview with one of these young people that got COVID-19. He was 14 years old. And when he went to the doctors, he was manifesting a disease that didn't look like COVID-19. He was breaking out in rashes all over his bodies. And I got this like chill because I know when we knew people that were going to the doctors with diseases that, typically affected 70-year-old Jewish men, that all of a sudden young, healthy men were getting. And we don't know much about this virus. And I think we're just beginning to learn about it.
I think that's a very important point, especially when we look at some of the irrational ways that people are responding to the changes in our understanding. We are only a few short months into this story. We're not even in chapter 1, we're in the prologue. And So every week, scientists and researchers uncover a little bit more about it. But it's been very unfortunate that this has contributed to the confusion in the public. Let's, for example, look at the issue of masks. At the beginning of this, we were told that we shouldn't wear masks. We were actually actively discouraged from purchasing and wearing masks. Part of that was the fear that there wouldn't be enough for frontline health workers, which in and of itself says something, that our great country that can't provide enough masks to care for our nurses and doctors and hospital workers. But the science changed, and we now understand that wearing masks is critically important. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do see that many people who have been released from the hospital continue to have very serious health challenges weeks and now even months after supposedly recovering.
Turning to the response to the AIDS epidemic, a pandemic that was led by people like you, are there lessons to be learned about how we fight in this era against COVID-19, particularly a government that seems to be just criminally indifferent to people dying?
You know, he said he wanted to be considered a wartime president. I think if the country was being invaded by an army, he would not ask the states to take care of themselves. This lack of federal leadership and this persistent effort to divide us. With HIV/AIDS, the first community to be identified was our own, and we were not powerful. We were a small minority with very fragile, very new infrastructure, social infrastructure. Where you work, for example, was just a tiny organization back then. We didn't know how to raise millions, tens of millions of dollars. We didn't know how to create all these support services. And in the absence of a federal response, we were really required to do it on our own. And again, we see that the real burden of this new struggle has fallen on the shoulders of community organizations and local and state government.
I'm just curious, what in your personal or professional experience, for that matter, feels most valuable to you as you face the second pandemic of our lifetimes, and where you find your strength, really?
Well, there are days when I feel despair. I want to be very honest about that. I'm 65 and I'm fortunate to be sheltered in place in a very beautiful place. I take comfort and gain strength from believing that I am not powerless. I think that's so important. When we face these kinds of challenges, it's so easy to shut down and say, oh my gosh, what can I do? I don't have the resources. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the information. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. But this was something we learned from Harvey Milk. None of us are powerless. All of us have a role to play. So to anyone who's hearing this, I would encourage you to look within yourself in a very honest way and look at what are your strengths? What are those special gifts that you could bring to our struggle? And I hope that as you look at yourselves that way, that you, like I, will find a way to contribute that also brings you joy. At the end of the day, if you've done your work right, the people you're fighting for go home and they have maybe a little more money in their pocket. They've got better health care. They're treated with more dignity and respect. And they're discovering that what we have in common is far greater than all of the barriers and boundaries we construct between each other. That was the lesson of HIV/AIDS, and I think it needs to be the lesson of COVID-19 as well.
Well, I can't think of a better note on which to finish. This is a very difficult time for us, but to have that hope and that optimism that we will get through this, and also that the joy that we find in our lives is contagious. just as the virus is, that it really can help people get through if we take on the attitude that you just talked about. So I want to thank you for those stirring words in the end here. So thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe and be well.
Thanks.
Differences between 40 years ago and today, everything that's happening in the world today and what was happening then, it's pretty striking to me.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like some of the reasons why there wasn't a quick response to the HIV epidemic 40 years ago are the same reasons that there's not a quick response now. The people who were impacted by the HIV epidemic were a small group of marginalized people. And we see that now in this COVID pandemic. The people who are being impacted and infected are low-income people of color. And so then there doesn't seem to be that urgency to respond and do something.
If you're interested in continuing the work that started so many years ago, you can donate to your friends and family members directly by visiting their fundraising page at AIDSLifeCycle.org, or make a general donation by texting the word donate to 341-999-7433. That is 341-999-RIDE. If you're inspired this evening, please share on social media with the hashtag AIDSLifeCycle and let your friends and family know about the ride. Oh, and hey, speaking of fundraising, let's check out our at-home thermometer and see what's happened this week. Without further ado, today's fundraising total is $7,714,467. Thank you so much for everyone who's able to keep fundraising. We really, really, really appreciate it. Speaking of supporting the mission, I'm excited to show you this piece highlighting AIDS LifeCycle community members who are working on the front lines throughout the pandemic. Take a look.
Hello, my name is Tony Zamudio. This would have been my 22nd year as a writer for AIDS LifeCycle. I work as a clinical psychologist. In my work, I help men and women who are healing from anxiety, depression, and trauma. What I'm so appreciative of with the AIDS LifeCycle community is where I've been able to see firsthand the impact of coming together to listen to each other, to develop tolerance for the differences that we have, by being able to work together as a team, and most important, to be able to laugh and to be able to dance together. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all in 2021.
Hi, we are the Coast is Queer. And this was going to be our first year riding with the AIDS LifeCycle.
We are frontline nurses, physicians, and a healthy lifestyle coach.
As of this recording today, we've lost almost 350,000 individuals to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's scary, but it reminds us that we need to work together as a broader global community, just as you've done through your dedication to the AIDS LifeCycle, to take care of our most vulnerable populations.
We have endured and overcome trying times in the past.
And with physical distancing and social solidarity, we can continue to survive these challenging times together.
I want to thank all of you for staying home, wearing masks, washing your hands, avoiding large gatherings, and supporting frontline and essential workers. We couldn't do it without you.
We also want to thank all of you who donated to the AIDS LifeCycle in order to support life-saving services offered by the San Francisco AIDS Foundation and the Los Angeles LGBT Center.
Hey everybody, my name is Shaku Fofana. This would have been my first year riding with AIDS LifeCycle. My job right now as a frontliner is I am a registered nurse in the medical ICU. So it kind of feels like I'm in the battlefield rather than the front line. So my job is to take care of critically ill patients with COVID-19 that are on ventilators, that are on sedation, that are just very, very sick. And it has been an honor to do so. I just want to say thank you to all of you for all of the support that you have given to nurses and to doctors and to respiratory therapists, CNAs, all the medical people that are out there just trying to make a difference. So stay safe and thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Miguel Ibarra. I'm a clinical social worker at UCSF's Positive Health Program. I have been working in the HIV community for a little over 6 years now. It's definitely a bummer that we're not going to be able to ride this year. You know, I personally was really looking forward to it, and it's okay. We're going to be able to ride next year. You know, we're saving ourselves this year by staying in, and we're getting connected in other ways, and next year we're going to be able to come together and ride those 545 miles and say, you know, we did it.
My name's Allison Diamant. This would have been my 25th California ride. I work as an internal medicine doctor at UCLA, taking care of people of all ages, and COVID has certainly hit us, whether directly with infections or people not seeking health care because of the COVID epidemic and pandemic and not wanting to come into the office. So I've been doing a lot more telehealth. I loved the My 545 challenge, and My 545 is growing and giving away at least 545 vegetables and fruit seedlings. So if I give away everything that's left today, I will have gotten to 600. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep raising money for ALC this year and hope to get to my 10K again. And I will look forward to seeing everybody on the ride next year. Thank you guys. Love all.
I love seeing our community in action, doing what we do best, caring for and supporting others in their time of need. I love our love bubble. Thank you, essential healthcare workers, for all that you do to keep us healthy and happy. And special thanks to all our ALC healthcare and essential workers for your endless inspiration. You are warriors. What an emotional ride this has been so far. I'm hoping you have a little more left for our next segment. Joining us tonight is David Pisanich to share today's physical challenge, top 10. For those of you who don't know David is a physical fitness instructor in Los Angeles with more than 12 years experience teaching cycling, yoga, and strength training. This is his first year on the ride with Team Funky Monkey. Over to you, David.
10 squats for the day. Although it is challenging, it's completely manageable for each of us. I completed my challenge and I hope you did too. Now, here are a few of our favorite challengers from the day.
Oh, wow. David, that was great. Thank you, David, for joining us to host today's Top 10 Physical Challenge, and huge thank you to everyone who hashtagged and participated at home. Join us for our daily spin tomorrow at 8 a.m. and hear about Day 3's Physical Challenge. Also, be sure to join us tomorrow morning for yoga with Chakai Kalikoa, live from Bali, and indoor cycling with Mario Martinez, starting at 7 a.m. Head to your participant center to join.
You can also register for the 2021 ride all week. While none of us know what will happen in the coming months, we do know this. We are planning to ride in 2021. Our mission and the agencies depend on us. For those of you who are registered for 2020, you know you've already been registered. And for the rest of you, go to our website, AIDSLifeCycle.org, and register today. I want to give a special thank you to my co-host this evening, Dot Theodore. Can't wait to get back out on the bike with you and all of our special East Bay ladies, Dot. And I'd like to thank everyone for making tonight's camp stage one to remember. I love seeing everyone in their orange garb and can't wait to see you again tomorrow for Day 3. Remember, wash your hands, wear your face masks, and of course, ride safe, be safe. We'll see you down the road. Good night.